makes money. They sell beautifully designed products, but what about Twitter? There is no real product for sale with Twitter. So today we've been asking you, in 140 characters or less, can you explain how Twitter makes its money? Justin says, exposure and the ability to direct a message to a crowd in a concentrated manner. Nate tweets, I was under the impression that some form of black magic was involved. Okay, here's my explanation about how Twitter makes its money in 140 characters or less. Twitter makes money by placing paid tweets from peeps you don't follow into your feed, inserting sponsored hashtags into trends, and selling data. By the way, I used the word peeps to save characters. Tristan Lewis has been working in the internet industry for 2 decades now, helping to build companies like Internet.com, which he co-founded. And he says Twitter makes money selling the eyeballs of impatient people to patient and advertisers. Tristan, good to see you. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thank you.
All right, so the hype about this is that Twitter's going to IPO. People like tech companies. Tech companies are doing particularly well right now anyway, and all sorts of people who have nothing to do with the world of investments are going to want to rush out and get a piece of this IPO. I can't tell them whether that's a good or bad thing to do. Maybe you can, but at least we can try and explain how this company makes money.
Yeah, when you're looking at it, right, if you're not the product, then you are, if you're not paying for the product, then you are the product. In that particular case, it's your eyeballs. So if you're using Twitter today, you are the product. And what that product is really your eyeballs and the ability to sell that to advertisers that are willing to pay for that.
So that we don't get suckered into this, because this week we heard Netflix has more subscribers than HBO has. And we heard Facebook, 1 billion people are on Facebook. And we hear these numbers from Twitter about how many people are there. Does the level of engagement of the eyeball make a difference to the value of a company?
The number of eyeballs makes a difference to the companies. When you're talking to a Procter & Gamble or Coca-Cola, they want large numbers. They're going to a broadcaster, they're not going to, a really small TV channel or anything like that. In the same way, on the internet, they're going to large numbers. So if you throw 100 million people in their face, it's much better than, I'm throwing 100,000 people in your face.
But you're not worried that the 100 million, many of them may just be casual users who will not feel the same impact that an active user.
So that's the question, right? If you're looking at traditional media, whether it is a TV station, a newspaper, radio, etc., there is passive usage. And the same thing is true on the internet. So do you then worry about which ones of those users are passive versus active? In something like Twitter, you actually can get directly to the active users. Mm-hmm. That's the great thing about digital media.
Now let's talk about this. Facebook, put those ads on the side. I actually look at them a lot. I've used them. Twitter is really the first one to put it into your feed as if it's from one of your pals, or as if it's from somebody who you've chosen to follow. It sort of pops up in the group of people you follow.
Yes, it taps into a trend that brands want to be your friends. They want to take you out for a beer, and hopefully it's their beer. So in that particular case, Twitter is essentially inserting you in the conversation among your friends, inserting that brand, and some brands are actually doing it better than Twitter actually can do it through direct messaging. If you remember the Super Bowl and the big blackout, Oreo put out an ad saying, well, it's a blackout, why don't you pick up some milk and a cup of Oreo? They did not pay for that kind of stuff. And so there's this healthy tension between Twitter charging money and the individuals the individual brands going out themselves and trying to do it by themselves.
All right, so you generally like the way it's going. Tristan Lewis is a co-founder and CEO of KeepScore, and he's an internet entrepreneur. Thanks for being with us, and he's got a Twitter handle, so we'll send that out. All right, Netflix.